Okay, I am back after like more than a week since I made my last developer study series video, and this is for the Salesforce Platform Developer 2, and it's starting to evolve a little bit into a lot of other things. I've worked on some integration stuff, some data cloud projects, and now there's going to be a little sub-series by using the Lightning Web Components, and there are quite a few web component recipes to study through, and I've used quite a few of them, but I haven't used all of them, obviously, and I would like to work through them because actually building with either the newer ones or the older ones or even Visualforce, it gives you an opportunity to understand how the state works in Salesforce and how you have to manage, callbacks and, record changes and clicks. So there's a lot of different moving parts, especially when you're working with Apex or a call out. So getting some exposure to every single one at least gives you some insight to know what to look for when you have to come across it. So let's go ahead and start with my user story, as I usually start with when I do these. And today's user story, and this is in continuation of me building the job application app on Salesforce in the dev org. So that's what I've been doing throughout this whole series. So here, the user story is, as a hiring manager, and this is not for a recruiter, so this is just from a hiring manager's perspective, I want to quickly search job applicants based on certain skills from the job record. And we can make a lot of assumptions here. We can say, hey, these people have been confirmed to be proficient in these skills, or however you want to put it, but this skills field is basically just a pick list on the job application object that we're using right now. And the acceptance criteria is that the hiring manager will be able to search for specific skills from the job record. And you can see the deliverable from what I have listed below. But let's take a quick peek at the Salesforce documentation. So this is the Lightning Web Component documentation, and from here, and this Aura here, you can reference Aura, or you can reference Lightning Web Components. And for me, I want Lightning, so I'm going to look through these, and you have mostly the same things that you see in any JavaScript or front-end framework outside of Salesforce, but they work a little differently within Salesforce. There are a lot of restrictions. The way data is handled is a little different. So it's good to, even if you have experience on the front end, it's good to jump in here and get familiar with how data and state is handled in a JavaScript library within Salesforce. So, and then here, the one I chose to use today is the record picker. This is fairly new. Looks like this blog was created just at the end of October, and they use the GraphQL, a GraphQL library on the back end, which makes basically it allows for more efficient queries. And I might even do a GraphQL video just showing how that can be done, either outside Salesforce or within Salesforce, using using a library or some API. So basically what it is it's just a filter. You can do a lookup, kind of like a lookup, but it's filtering on certain criteria. And I'll take a quick peek at documentation here. So here in this case, they have an initial value. They're searching through context. They have a value that's going to be in the field initially, and then they have a change. And the handle change is the function that's going to handle the change. And it's an input box where you will select a record. And if you look at the back end, well, kind of the back end, if you look at the JavaScript, I should say, you'll see how it has a filter. And the filter here, they hard coded Madison. And I did it a little different. So, and I'll show you that. Actually, let's go show you right now. So here is my HTML. It's very similar. We have matching info, We have the object name, which is the job application. It's placeholder, label, display info, handle change, and filter. So we'll go over here to the JavaScript, and so match info is just an object that contains primary field, which is the object name, which is required. It's basically by default they're going to use the name as the primary field, and then you have additional fields for matching, which is skills, and I'm going to use skills. But even if you start typing in the field, which I'll show later, you'll actually filter against both. So it's pretty nice in that way. The display info is going to be the candidate full name, which is a formula. So I'm not showing the ID, I'm showing the actual name, the text, and the name of the object, the name of the record. With a handle cancel, which I probably inappropriately named that, but basically it's just a warning, just telling you when you click the button, don't click it again. Just click the button because it's an asynchronous call, and clicking the button is actually performing an Apex method that I have not described yet. But basically, it's going to call an Apex method, and so you don't want to hit the button more than once. You just let it carry out. Handle change. This is the change event where the record gets selected or deselected. And handle click. This is going to call the Apex method, and this also sits on the button. So if you look here on click, it calls the handle click JavaScript method. And then the handle search event, which gets past the event parameter, and the event is the selection of the record. And so we actually going to filter against a field on the actual job, because this is going to be placed on the job record, the job object record, and there's a field, job name, that we want to filter against. So we want to filter. So basically what we're doing is we're searching for job applications, which are candidates, but they're job applications, which is a junction between candidate and job. So we're searching job applications, and we're filtering against those who applied for the job for which we are on. So we're on the job application, we're on the job record, and the job record, say it's for a financial analyst, then we're only going to be searching for people who applied for financial analyst jobs. And the criteria we're going to use is skills. So basically the thought, like from the user story, is that the hiring manager says, "Hey, I need a Python person, quick." So they go to the job record, they start searching for Python, and they get those applicants who applied for the analyst job who have skills in Python. That's the thought behind this. So let's go ahead and move on to the Apex. So the Apex, we actually have an Apex class that I created called Search Skills. Excuse me. And the Search Skills contains two methods, and one is where we'll pass the application ID for the job application that we selected. We'll query it, and with that we'll create an interview. And some of this is hard-coded, which is creating fictional time and some other fictional information. Obviously we could customize the details in this interview. We can create an email alert to everyone. There could be a lot of different things that can be done here, but basically we're just creating a job interview based off of that hiring manager clicking that button from the Lightning component, calling this Apex method. What I did find out is that without using the wire service, which is what we did not use here, we cannot call a DML, a method that performs DML directly. And I found out the hard way, which is awesome, because I spent a little time figuring that out, and I'm like, oh, I can't call that directly from the Lightning web component. I guess because data is cached and they don't want you to perform DML in a cacheable environment, because data, obviously data can get there can be a lot of data that can get backed up there. And I actually saw the error method, that the error message said maximum DML statements 1 out of 0, and I'm like, what? So I googled that and found out, oh, I can't perform DML directly from that environment. So what I did was I created another method that simply I'll call from the Lightning Web Component, and it calls this method. So and it works. So it was pretty simple, just creating a you're kind of abstracting the DML call a little bit. So that is how I fixed that. So let's go ahead and take a look in the UI. So here, and I'll go ahead and refresh the page, just because the state changes and things, and sometimes authentication changes if it's been sitting idle for a while. So here I'm on a job record, and this one is called Data Scientist. So basically what's going to happen here is I'm going to search through skills, and we'll look quickly at here. On this page I should have skills here, but I don't. So let's take a quick peek, move that up. Okay, so we have skills here. So we want to search through, and not all of them are filled out, but the idea is that the skills are related to the job, and they've been vetted in some way. So we want to search through the skills. And so let's say we want somebody who's proficient in Python. Okay, we got 2 people. All right, so let's go ahead and look at Word. A few people who are proficient in Word, who are candidates for this type of job. And let's go ahead and choose Excel. So we'll assume that data scientists are using Excel instead of Python. But let's go ahead and do that, and let's schedule an interview. And here is the message. This is a quick and dirty message I use. It's a recipe that I got off of Salesforce's Lightning Web Component documentation. But just give me an opportunity to say, hey, don't click it again. And let's go ahead and go to interviews. And let's see here. All right, so this is the one we just scheduled. And basically, it's an interview name. It's an urgent interview with Larry Miner. Created date is today, this time. Interviewer is me. Job application. What is it? Job application. The job application name is basically an auto number, and it's scheduled. And let's go take a look at the page, because the page is a Visualforce page. And remember, I created this in the past because study of the purpose of studying for the developer 2, there is a lot of Visualforce on there. So here's the job listing, which is the analyst job listing. So that's it, and that is how to use the job record picker. A very quick and dirty way of doing it. I will be doing quite a few more Lightning Web Component videos, in addition to some more Visualforce videos. And from the Lightning Web Component perspective, I will be working through a lot of these, the recipes, and they do require a lot of updates, and because these are basically, I'll say updates, they require a lot of modifications, because for your particular instance, there may be something else. There may be a constraint that you weren't aware of, like it was for me, where I couldn't call that method that performed DML directly. I had to call another method, which called the method that performed the DML. So that's it. You guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I will see you next time. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.